ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुताः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिचे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं परमानन्दमाधवम्। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Very happy once again to be with all of you. And can we have some insights and some churning from the 10th chapter? What exactly did you, I would say, it's a personalized experience. So Bhakti is a personal experience that we have with the Lord. So what was your experience with the Bhagavatam? First canto, 10th chapter. Whatever you liked, anything that you want to speak. Because I want to give you a chance to all of you also to glorify Bhagavatam in the beginning. So just 2-3 minutes, we can take some devotees' insights, and then we'll proceed ahead with the 11th chapter. Anybody? Yes, Prabhu. You are not prepared for such a tough question. What if it comes in the exam? Please summarize 10th chapter. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I was inspired by the statement that Hastinapur ladies were all absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, even they were more than Vedic hymns. This was very much inspiring me. Even though we talk about Krishna, we glorify, we praying and other things. Even their gossips were even more than Vedic hymns. It is what is stated in the sloka.
Anyonemasit sanjalpa. Yes, very nice it was. Beautiful. Anyonemasit sanjalpa uttama shloka chetasa. So their consciousness was completely Krishna conscious, and that is why their sanjalpa, the talking. There are different kinds of jalpan. 8 types of jalpa that Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur speaks about in 10th canto. Sanjalpa, jalpa. Sanjalpa is all of them coming, just like Sankirtan we have. So together come and talk. Jalpa is to talk. Prajalpa is not good talk. Yes, non-Krishna conscious talks. Correct? So that jalpa we should avoid, prajalpa. But this is also a kind of Krishna conscious prajalpa that was going on with them. Sanjalpa. Uttama shloka chetasa kauravendra punis purastrinam sarvashtuti manoha. Even the Vedas were attracted and trying to find out what are these ladies speaking. Very nice. Thank you. Anybody else? In one sense, that was the heart of the 10th chapter. The talks of Kauravendra Purastri, all the ladies of Kurus. Anyone else would like to say something that you liked? Yes, Sandeep Prabhu.
Yes, sir. भौतिक कारणों से प्रेरित जो कार्यकलाप है उसको कम करने के लिए भागवतम ने बताया।
अच्छा, ठीक है।
भौतिक कारणों से प्रेरित जो भी हम कार्यकलाप कर रहे हैं ना, वो छोड़ के भक्ति के कार्यकलाप में जितना हो सके उतना दिन में जितना देर हो सके उतना रहना चाहिए।
बिल्कुल, बहुत बढ़िया है।
ये भागवतम का अच्छा लगा मुझे।
थैंक यू, धन्यवाद। तो इस ग्रेस राधेश्याम प्रभु बहुत बार ये फॉर्मूला बताते हैं, मैक्सिमाइज कृष्णा टाइम, मिनिमाइज माया टाइम। तो जितना हो सके कृष्ण का समय, कृष्ण के साथ का समय बढ़ाना है, और माया का समय जो है हमें घटाना है। कुछ भक्तों का वीडियो ऑन नहीं है, सम ऑफ यू प्लीज, योर वीडियोस आर ऑफ, प्लीज टर्न ऑन। नो ब्लैक ब्राह्मण, आई हेट ब्लैक ब्राह्मण, एवरीवेयर ब्लैक पूरा। Black Brahman is not nice. If you are a Vishwakirti Prabhu, you can keep it off, no problem. You are in train. You will not be able to hear otherwise. Her Grace Shobha Lakshmi Mataji, your point. I think you have turned out some extra sound. So conch is blowing. Of course, the 11th chapter will start with the blowing of conch.
I like the way the world was flourishing during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira.
The beginning part. So they asked, the sages asked, Suta Goswami and the sages asked that, how did Yudhishthira Maharaj properly rule? So it was wonderfully flourishing because we had a Krishna conscious king. Yes, the Krishna conscious leader, under the able leadership of a Krishna conscious person, the world will flourish. Very nice. And if the person is not Krishna conscious, Krishna unconscious, it will perish. Very nice. Good points. Thank you, dear devotees. Now we'll proceed ahead to the 11th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'll just give you the split of how exactly we're going to go about discussing. So the 11th chapter totally has 39 shlokas. So this is how the split is. The first 10 shlokas describe about how Lord arrives in Dwarka. Now he has left Hastinapur. In the last chapter, Krishna leaves Hastinapur and departs for Dwarka. So the beginning of the 11th chapter is how Krishna is welcomed by all devotees in Dwarka. So that is the first 10 shlokas. And then in the next 5 shlokas, there's a description of how the Dwarkavasis had beautified Dwarka. Dwarka is already beautiful, but they had made many, many natural decorations for pleasing Krishna, for especially welcoming Krishna. And each and every home was ready to welcome Krishna. So we will see that beautiful description of Dwarka. And then next, we will see how Krishna starts reciprocating with all devotees. So the next entire section, the rest of the whole chapter of Bhagavatam, is how Krishna is Akila Rasamrit Murti. Yes, Akila Rasamrit Murti means his ability to reciprocate with different types of devotees. So that is there, 16 to 22. Lord reciprocates with all devotees. And the next part is Lord walks through the streets of Dwarka. And that time the Dwarkavasis are fathoming their fortune, great fortune. So that is also there. So basically Lord's reciprocation. That is something will be the highlight tomorrow. And specifically the next Saturday when we'll come, which will be our last interaction for this module. And there we will discuss about Lord's special dealing with his mothers and his wives. Yes, so both. So we'll see a little bit of the Swakiya Ras, which is of course in Aishwarya, but still that is also a rasa. And the kind of Vatsalya which exists between Krishna and his mothers. It's plural. It's not, of course, a person can have only one mother, but Krishna has many mothers. Let's find out what happens there. So this is a breakup. So today we'll be focusing on these first 15 shlokas, that how Lord is going to be welcomed by all devotees, Lord's arrival and his welcome. The second part is the description of Dwarka's beauty. All right, let's begin our discussion. Without further ado, this is 1.11.1. The chapter is entitled Lord Krishna's Entrance into Dwarka. Sut uvacha anartan sa upavrajya swariddang janapadan swakan dadmo daravaram tesham vishadam shamayan iva.
Suta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of the Anarthas, Dwarka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants.
Usually when Lord appears, Lord is about to give darshanarti. It is devotees who blow conch shell. Correct? But now we are able to see here, Krishna is only blowing conch shell and telling all devotees, Main aa gaya. I'm back to Dwarka. Dwarka is described with very beautiful words here. Suriddhan. Suriddha is Samriddhi. Just most prosperous. Suriddhan. So Riddha. Samriddhi also, that word, na, Riddhi. Samriddhi. That comes from this word Riddha. That is the root. So very, very prosperous. Janapadan. It's a huge city. Prabhupada writes that Dwarka was a very, very big city. Large city with many, many roads and many, many lanes, many, many streets, many, many meeting spots. It's a huge place. Janapad. So Janapads are usually great cities. They are called as. And Swakan. So his own city. Krishna's own city is Dwarka. The land of Anartha. Anartha. Not Anarthas. Anartha. There is no Anarthas in Anartha. Yes. So Dadmau Daravam. So Krishna's conch. What is the name of Krishna's conch? Anyone knows? We hear in Bhagavad Gita. Panchajanyam Rishigesho Devadattam Dhananjaya. So like that, different. So Krishna's name of his conch is Panchajanya. And who was Panchajanya? Anyone knows? Who was he? Panchajanya was demon. Yeah, he was a demon. He was a conch-shaped demon. It was said that Guru Putra, Krishna's Guru Putra, Sandipani Muni's son, he had gone to the ocean. And that's where this demon devours him. So Krishna defeats this demon, but accepts him. That's how he takes essence. Krishna takes essence of everything. So he takes this conch and makes it his own conch, Panchajanya conch. And that's what he blows, his auspicious conch, Panchajanya. And Tesham Vishadam Shamayaniva. It destroyed the Vishad, the lamentation that all the Dwarkavasis had because of separation from Krishna. It completely destroyed. So the previous chapter spoke about Vipralamba. Krishna is leaving. The Vipralamba Bhav is described. So the rasa that we are going to discuss in this chapter is Sambhoga, the union. So how the devotees are going to be united with the Lord. So that rasa is highlighted over here. There are some statements about Dwarkavasis. So Dwarkavasis are all pure devotees of Lord. Yes, it's very clear. In fact, even Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says, Dwarka Puri, Mathura Puri, Jagannath Puri, these three Puris, who all the residents, the demigod, even the demigods, when they take darshan, they are in four-handed form. Correct? So they're all pure devotees of Lord, his eternal associates. Yes. And actually, they cannot bear a moment of separation from the Lord, not even for a moment, because they are very, very attached to Krishna. They cannot even think of his separation. So imagine Lord being away for a long time. And that is actually the very nature of Krishna. Anybody who even associates with Krishna for a moment will not even feel like being separated from Krishna for a moment. That's the nature of Krishna. So Krishna wanted to remove that dejection. He wanted to end the separation of the Dwarkavasis. For that, he blew the conch. And conch is very auspicious. It's a very, very auspicious weapon. If you notice in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Shastri, when you did, it will be shown that all those warriors whose conscience names are mentioned, they survive. And those whose conscience names are not mentioned, they all die. Of course, Satyaki is called Aparajita, but all those fellows whose conscience names are mentioned, they only survive. Correct? Because they are Divya Shankau, Pratak. Their Shankas are all Divya Shankas. On the other hand, when Bhishma Dev, other Kauravas and parties, they blow the conch, nothing happens. On the other hand, when Krishna, Arjuna, and the Pandavas, they blow, they shatter the hearts of the enemies. Because conch shell produces auspiciousness, auspicious sound vibration. And those people who are inauspicious elements, they become afraid. Yes, so there is no inauspiciousness in Dwarka. So all the dejection was gone from Dwarkavasis. And in this chapter, we'll see the bhava, the spontaneous attraction that the Dwarkavasis have for the Lord, the bhav, bhakti bhav, which is a common property of dham. In fact, Rupa Goswami, when he gives the pramana for the dham, dhama darshan, so there he mentions that dham naturally has the bhava. And anyone who goes with a sincere service attitude to dham will get the bhava of a dhamvasi. So the dhamvasi's bhava will be observed here. I think Suryakant Prabhu has some questions. Suryakant Krishna Prabhu. You want to ask something? You muted yourself again.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah. So Prabhuji, in the description, it is mentioned that Dwarka was the prostitutes also. So first question is like how prostitutes can be considered pure devotee of the Lord because of their profession. One thing. And second question is probably in the interaction with between Parikshit Maharaj and Kali. So Kali wanted 4 places where 4 places for prostitution.
17. Abhyarthita tada tasmai kalani stane. So I will take, don't worry. I will take
Okay,
out of syllabus questions in the end. Okay, out of syllabus also I entertain, no problem. The prostitutes are yet to come. Prostitutes will come, don't worry. That time we'll discuss.
Okay.
Prabhupada very clearly explained his purport, we'll discuss, don't worry. They'll come tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. And as far as Kali question is there, that we will discuss today. You can ask me, remind me after the class. I'll take out of syllabus questions that time.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything connected to class, you can ask immediately, no problem. Next. The next sloka is going to describe that very beautiful analogy. The Krishna's, now what has happened in the previous sloka is the Bhagavatam's camera is on Krishna as he reached the gate. So now the Bhagavatam is going to zoom in. There's a zoom in and that action of Krishna blowing the conch. Yes, Krishna blowing very closely, that action is going to be captured in the next verse. Zoom in. Sa uchchakashe davalodaro dharo apyurukramasya dharashona shonima dadmayamana karakanja sampute yathabja khande kalahamsa utsavana.
The white and fat bold conch shell being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flowers.
So there are 2 elements described here. One is of a white swan and the second one is red lotus. So what is that white swan? So that white swan is that conch shell. Panchajanya conch shell is compared to that fat and white swan. And what does a swan do? A swan goes and its entire head inside lotus in clean waters. So Krishna's lips are compared to that lotus flower, the red lotus. The red lotus flower is the lips of the Lord. We say na Damodarashtakam, we sing. So Krishna's lips are like the bimba fruit, reddish like the bimba fruit. We recite that, na? Like that. That is the reddish lotus flower, and it seems as though the swan is dipping inside. And Krishna's hand is also bluish, no? It looks like that water. That also analogy is there. A beautiful description of Krishna blowing the conch. And purport Prabhupada gives very good lessons. Prabhupada says that the redness of the white conch shell is due to the lip of Krishna. It has a spiritual significance. Actually, it was the reflection. Everyone knows what is the color of Krishna's teeth? Color of our teeth, I will not ask. Colgate, Pepsodent, सब try कर, दंत मंजन try करके भी क्या होता है हमारा पता है. Color. But what is Krishna's color? Krishna's teeth's color. Anybody would like to try?
Bluish. Darkish bluish.
Darkish bluish, no. Krishna's teeth's color is reddish because his lips get reflected on his teeth. That's a color. So his lips similarly are getting reflected on the conch also. And you know Krishna, how many earrings he wears? How many earrings does Krishna wear? Nowadays fashion is there. People wear earrings and some rings here also. No, so I'm only talking about earrings. It's a very obvious question. Prabhu ji, क्या बात कर रहे हैं आप? Ear तो 2 है, तो ring भी 2 ही पहनेंगे. नहीं, Krishna has 4 earrings. How, Prabhuji? He has 2 ears but 4 earrings? Because 2 earrings are here like this, they keep moving. Dasat kundalam. And 2 of them are reflections on his cheek. So on his cheeks, those reflections come. So this is how Krishna's body is. They reflect and it appears as though Krishna has 4 earrings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. So Krishna's teeth are reddish color because of his lips. So similarly, that redness is something that is reflected even on the conch shell. And that has a spiritual significance. So what is it? So it says that Lord is spiritual, completely spiritual. And the matter is dull, inert, and is made of ignorance. So in one sense, there is nothing called, material. There's nothing called material because ultimately everything comes from Krishna. It's about a vision. Somebody separates something from Krishna, it becomes material. But this is just for the analogy's sake we are trying to understand. Correct? So spiritual enlightenment. So Krishna blowing the conch, what was happening was gradually the redness from his lips was expanding and that whitish conch was becoming reddish. So this is spiritual enlightenment that happens in the contact of Krishna's sound. Yes. So that is the analogy that Prabhupada writes in the purport. So just as the redness is increasing and reflecting on the conch, like that, when we come in contact with Krishna, we may come in contact with Krishna through his deity form. We may come in contact with Krishna through the holy name, through Krishna's transcendental sound vibration, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishne Swadamo Pagate Dharma Jnanadi Visaha, Kalau Nashta Drisham Esham Puranarko Dhinodita. Non different from Krishna. So through sound vibration, we may come in contact. So different ways we come in contact with Krishna and we get enlightened. Yes. So that coming in contact with Krishna is very important. And the person who comes in contact with Krishna, he is a Paramahamsa. Yes, only a Paramahamsa comes in contact with Krishna. That is why that conch shell is also described as Hams. Now, who is a Hamsa? So we have a Shubhashita in Sanskrit, which says Hamshaha Swetaha, Bhaka Swetaha, Kahabedaha, Baka Hamsayoho, Nirak Shirak Viveketu, Hamsaha, Bakaha, Baka. Very old, and I learned in my 4th, 5th standard, long back. But so those things we remember, even that is the memory, kind of memory we had. So it is said Hamsaha Swetaha. The Hamsas are white in color. Bakaha Swetaha. And even the Baka is a crane. He also looks white in color. So from a distance, and if you don't have no proper signs, we cannot distinguish who is a buck, who is a crane, and who is a duck, crane, whatever. Baka is Bakasur, duck or crane, whatever you call it. They're also called Baka.
Bagula.
And then we have Hamsaha, who is also white. Kahabedaha, what is the difference between them? So Annapakshi, Baka, our Hamsa is called as an Annapakshi. Why? Because he has a special kind of acid which converts the milk into paneer. And he takes away that paneer, and what remains is water. So he's able to take the essence of milk and leave the water aside. So similarly, the devotees are also called as Hamsa. Why they're called Hamsa is because although they live in this material existence, they are able to accept the Krishna element and reject the Maya element. So that is why devotee is also called as Hamsa, the Annapakshi, who takes in Krishna and doesn't take the Maya. Of course, now what is Maya? Maya is something that is pratikul to bhakti. Now there is nothing called Maya as such, but something that is not favorable to my devotional service at this particular time, place, and circumstances is called Maya. Correct? That is not, but on the other hand, which is anukul to bhakti, he accepts that. So that is why devotees are also called as Hamsa or Paramahamsa. They are supremely intelligent. And Paramahamsa, why they are called? Because these swans, they simply relish in Krishna. They play just like the swans play in green waters and they go and suck honey from the nectarine lotus. So they always stick to the lotus feet of Krishna. So that's why they are called as Paramahamsas. So they come in contact with Krishna. So the concept of Paramahamsas was explained in the purport, the second half. And the first half tells about coming in contact with Krishna and thus expanding the spiritual enlightenment. So that is the blowing of conch. All right. Okay. So now naturally Krishna has blown the conch. Now when Krishna has blown the conch, there will be some effect on the Dwarkavasis, right? So far the camera was on the gate. Now the camera comes inside the Dwarka. And what happened to the Dwarkavasis, the residents of Dwarkavasis? What was the impact of that sound vibration of Panchajanya? That is described in the shloka number 3. Tam upashrutya ninadam jagad bhaya bhayavaham pratyudryayuhu praja sarva bharatra darshana lalasaha.
Hare Krishna. The citizens of Dwarka, having heard that the sound which threatens fear personified in the material world, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector of all devotees.
Thank you. Yes. So what has happened here is Upashut Ninadam. Ninad is sound. So as soon as they heard the sound, Jagat Bhaya, the fear of material existence, Jagat Bhaya, Bhayavaham. That is what is the threatening principle in this material world. Fear. Fear is the driving principle in this material world. Correct. I remember we all had in our brahmachari training, as a part of brahmachari training, we have to go and stay in farm also. Farm means no electricity and no tap water, taking bath in rivers and all of that. So that kind of experience we need to have for about 5 days. Ours happened only for 1 day because of some reasons. So we had gone. So there we had gone to Gokul Dham, Belgaum's farm, and there our trainer was taking us around. He was mentioning that in the forest there are many bhalus, bear. Bhalu pura muh khol deta hai. You can devour. That kind of bhalus are there, bears. There are tigers, and he was making us really scared. Big elephants, and these elephants will come and pierce their tusk. So all varieties of animals are there. And then Prabhuji, how you people have all survived amidst all these animals? We don't find any brahmachari's rate coming down or something like that. How you people survive? So he immediately spoke. Jo dar gaya, so mar gaya. So anybody who there is the law of this world. So animals, they sense fear. And as soon as they see that you're fearful of them, they will come and they will become the predator and you are the prey. They come and try to hunt you down. That's what happens. So similarly, even in this material world, fear is the principle that is driving everybody. This is a statement that is spoken by Vidura to Dhritarashtra. In the first canto, it comes. Ahastani sahastanam apadani chatushpadam falguni tatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. The mighty and the big always try to conquer the small. Based on what? Who is mighty and who is small? Small is the person who becomes fearful. And the mighty will devour them. And so the principle of fear is always there. And we also hear, right, this material world is pavarga. Pa, fa, ba, bha, ma. Pa for parishram. Everybody has to work hard. Fa for pain. You work hard, you'll foam in the mouth. Yes, the fellows start foaming in the mouth. And despite foaming in the mouth and working hard, you want to give it up. Arey, kal se nahi jaunga office. Itna pakata hai boss. Nahi jaunga. But then again he has to go. Why? Because by his bandhan. There are other so many responsibilities around. So he cannot leave it also. It is bandhan. And the fourth is bhaya. There's always a fear of losing our dear ones. Fear of losing things around us. Fear of the future. What will happen to us? And finally, the ma for mrityu. The death. So that's why the material world is called as pavarga. Parishram, Pena, Bandhana, Bhaya, and Mrityu. These 5 are the characteristics of this material world. And something that is always there constantly is Bhaya. That fear never leaves. Correct? Fear never leaves. And how to... So, the fear was completely gone. In fact, how is Krishna introduced in the Bhagavatam? Anyone remembers? You have done. Your Bhakti Vaibhava, that part is done. How Bhagavatam Krishna is introduced? Krishna is introduced through his holy name. 14th sloka. Apanna samsritim ghoram yannama vivasho granan tatas sadhya vimuchyeta yad bhibeti bhayam swayam. Even the fear personified fears that person who takes shelter of Krishna's holy name. So if Krishna's holy name is so powerful, how glorious is that personality, Krishna? That's how Krishna is introduced. And the next verse, Krishna's devotee's power is that is glorified. Yatpada samsaya suta muneya prasamayanaha tatas sadhyo vimuchyeta upasprishta swardhuni aponu sevaya. So you want to get purified and you go to Ganga. You have to swardhuni apa anusevaya. So the swardhuni is Ganga. So Ganges water, you have to keep taking a dip again and again. Then you will be purified eventually. On the other hand, when you come in contact with Krishna's devotees, tatas sadhyo vimuchyeta, you immediately get purified. It's very fast. Just one contact with a devotee can purify us completely. So that's the power of Krishna's devotees. Then how glorious is Krishna? So that's how they introduce. Krishna is introduced here. So the fear of material existence ceased to exist. That doesn't mean that Dwarkavasis were fearful. No, they are all eternal liberated souls. Yes, but even if there is an element of fear because of the material existence, that also did not remain. Now they say that Prahlad Maharaj was about to offer prayers. So before he offered prayers, he went and offered obeisances to Nasimdev. Tatpadamulam, it is said, this one. Swapadamulam patitasya. So he went and offered obeisances. Uttapi tatshirshnya dadat karambujam kalahi vistrishta diya krita bhayam. So now here, when Narsimdev put hand on Prahlad, they say that he became purified. Now Prahlad Maharaj is already pure devotee. He's seeing the Lord, he's serving the Lord. For him, the Lord has come. What did he get purified of? Whatever his relationship with Hiranyakashipu was, somebody may say he's Ugra Jati, he's Asura Putra, he's Hiranyakashipu Putra. So he was purified of that. So Lord assured everyone, no, he's no more Hiranyakashipu Putra, he's my Putra, he's my son. He's no more Ugra Jati, he's Achyuta Gotra, he's my devotee. So Lord gives that assurance. So similarly, Dwarkavasis are eternally liberated, just like Prahlad Maharaj is a pure devotee. But they are over here, that fear element is there in the material world. So from that material ethos only it was removed. Yes. So that was gone. And Pratyudyuhu Praja Sarva. Yes, everybody without any split second delay. Bhartra Darshana Lalasa. They had that so much of eagerness for darshan. They just ran. Everybody just ran towards the gates of Dwarka to welcome Krishna. Yes. So this was the beauty. This is the kind of eagerness that we should have. Correct? When the conch is blown for the Darshanarti. Of course, now if you see 4:30 a.m. Yes, in our temples, the conch is blown. That time you will find all the brahmacharis holding dhotis and running. The congregation devotees may be wondering why these fellows are running. इतना क्यों भाग रहे? अरे भाई आजकल बारिश है, स्लीप होके गिर भी सकते हैं, but they are running because we have attendance. You don't enter the temple hall before 4:30. You have to write 54 Mahamantras. There is transcendental punishment. And because of that fear, we are running towards the Lord when conch blows. On the other hand, these Dwarkavasis don't have any transcendental Mahamantra punishment or anything of that sort. They are running out of bhava, the spontaneous affection which is there in their heart. And that's why they are running. Not for attendance or submission of Mahamantras. This is the mood in which a devotee should run whenever darshan opens. 4:30 darshan, Shringar darshan, 7:30. So I have seen some devotees, Shringar darshan, conch is blowing, they're running away. Hey, किधर जा रहा है? प्रभु थोड़ा योगा करना है, योगा करने जा रहे हैं. अरे भाई, द्वारकावासी से क्या सीखते हैं? कॉन्च ब्लो होता है भगवान की ओर भागना है, तुम भगवान से दूर भाग रहे हो, क्या कर रहे हो? योगा करने जा रहे हैं. अरे योगेश्वर आ रहे हैं, तुम योगा करने जा रहे हो. Of course, somebody has a genuine health concerns, that's only time slot available. If doctor has prescribed, one may have to do. But I was just wondering that how much eagerness we should have for the darshan, that darshana lalasa. Is something that we should learn from the Dwarkavasis, that eagerness. And even he had, Bharat Maharaj, Atma Jaya, Sutagara, Pashu Dravina Bandushu, Radhyam Cheya Vikla Vityam. So he sarva, Virudha Mamatam Jahu. He gave up all that. How? Why he was able to give up everything? Uttama Shloka Lalasaha, Jaho Yaveva Malavat, Uttama Shloka Lalasa. He gave everything up, his Rajya, his Suhrida, his wife, his children, all of these things he was able to give up. As though one gives up stool and doesn't even look back. Why? Because of Uttama Shloka Lalasa. He had eagerness to attain Krishna, eagerness to serve Krishna. So somehow by associating with Bhagavatam and all these wonderful characters of Bhagavatam, we have to develop this lalasa. This lalasa. There's a beautiful shloka that comes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Krishna Bhakti Rase Bhavitam Ati Kriyatam Api Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Laulyam Api Maulyam Ekalam Janma Kotir Sukritirna Labhyate. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitam Ati. So based on this particular word only, Prabhupada has formed this Krishna consciousness. Yes, Krishna consciousness, this word has been formed from Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. So that is the equivalent for Krishna consciousness. So how to become Krishna consciousness? Kriyatam api kutopi labhyate. Somehow or the other, tatra laulyam, that eagerness, that transcendental greed, somehow or the other we purchase that. It's available with devotees. There are ecstatic devotees, enthusiastic devotees, transcendental devotees. So we should go associate with them and purchase that transcendental greed. When that is purchased, Janma Koti Sukrita, this you will not get the Krishna Rasabhyam, even your crores and crores of lifetimes punya. If you offer that also, you will not get even a small drop of Krishna Bhavanamrit. No. That you will only get through Laulyam. So in spiritual life, every year by year, or of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says you have to analyze and take an analysis, an overview of your bhakti every fortnight. Every Ekadashi to Ekadashi, we should check how much progress we are making. So the progress we are making can be determined, we can just check. It's a very simple element. Are we increasing our greed? Is our greed for chanting increasing? Is our greed to hear Bhagavatam increasing? Our greed to read Srimad Bhagavatam is increasing. Our greed to serve more, is that increasing? If that is growing, we are making advancement. Otherwise, we are just years are flowing. See in years. Want to become senior devotee in ISKCON? Just stay. And one day you will become senior devotee. Right? Today morning only I was giving a class to the youth in NVCC temple. I was there. And they introduced me. They go, okay, Prabhuji is a very senior devotee. I said, hey, someone told you introduction mein likha chupchap wahi padna hai. Aur kuch padho mat idhar udhar ka. What senior? I was wondering. Senior means that greed should increase. Yes, such a person is senior. Seniority in greed for getting Krishna. So that we get from the Dwarkavasis. All right, let's move to the next sloka. It's a double sloka, 4 and 5 together. And this describes the greed of the Dwarkavasis. How they came and exhibited that greed for darshan. How they took the darshan of the Lord. So that is described beautifully in the next 2 verses. Let us read. Tatropanita balayo raverdeepam nivadritaha atmaramam purnakamam nijalabhena nityada prityutphulla mukha prochur harshagadgadaya gira pitaram sarvasuhridam avitaram ivarvakaha.
The citizens arrive before the Lord with their respective presentation, offering them to the fully satisfied and self-sufficient one, who by his own potency incessantly supplies other. These presentations were like the lamp offered during the worship of the sun. Yet the citizens began to speak in ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just as wards welcome their guardian and father.
So Lord is described by different names here. The first name he describes is called as Atma Rama. Atma Ram means he enjoys within the self. Now, a person who enjoys within the self, does he need any object? Does he need some articles? Does he need some paraphernalia? Not required. ठीक है. Now one may say, for instance, चलो उनको जरूरत पड़ गई किसी चीज की. But who is he? Is Purna Kamam. Even if he needs something, whatever he desires will immediately get fulfilled. So there is no need of any person to come and carry out some activity to fulfill something for Krishna. He is Purna Kamam. That is the second quality. That is, he is fully satisfied. First of all, he doesn't need. Number 2, even if he needs, he is fully satisfied. And number 3, he is the supplier of everything. That means you want to give something to Krishna, you can only take from him and give it. Because everything belongs to Krishna. Isha vasyam idam sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna. So the person who, now you may say, Krishna, please take this object. So when I was just contemplating on this verse, when I read, many times I've read this chapter. So I used to we cannot impress Krishna. Krishna is not a person to be impressed very easily. In this world, you can impress people very nicely. You show some charisma, some dynamic nature, some excellency and marvelance of your intelligence, some jugglery of words, some magic show. Idhar udhar ka thoda magic kar diya, and people get really impressed. Somebody can, impress people with their skills, oratory skills, dramatic skills, vocal skills, singing, yes, instrumental skills, all these things, musical skills, we can impress people. People get impressed. Oh, kya gaya? Are kya pravachan diya? People get impressed so easily. Yes. And others impressed by their ability to make money, their ability to make an organization, organizational skills, managerial abilities, yes, financial planning, and how they do things and get a lot of money in their bank balance. So it's very easy to impress people of this world. Yes, but we cannot impress Krishna because he has everything. He's Atmaram, he's Purna Kam, and he's Yo Vidyadati Kaman. He is the one who is giving desires for everyone. All supply comes from Krishna. So how can we impress him? And his impressing tendency is something which is there in the Asuras. The Asuras, whenever they do tapasya, what is their goal? Their goal is to impress the deity. Hiranyakashipu. He was doing very, very strugglesome austerities, torturing austerities. Hiranyakashipu. If you look at Ravana, Vrikasura, they were all doing austerities which is self-torture in one sense. Why? Because their goal was to impress the deity. And demigods may get impressed, but Krishna is not impressed by all this. Was one person who tried to impress Krishna. Who is that? Duryodhana. Yes. He got the best building. In the best building, he made the best dining room. In the best dining room, he brought the best chefs, best cooks from everywhere. He got the best sabji, the best rice, and the best of all articles. And he made the best Chappan Bhog feast. And he invited Krishna. Please come and take. Krishna looked at Chappan Bhog and said, what is this? He said, this is for you. So Duryodhana wanted to impress Krishna. That Krishna is not a person who can be impressed. He said a person only eats at a person's house when there is two things. One thing is there is hunger, but I am not hungry. Number two, there is love, and you don't love me. If you had loved me, you would listen to me. Don't impress me. What? Follow my instruction, man. Right? So you don't have love for me. So why should I eat here? And he walks away. And where does he go? He goes to the house of Vidura. There is no impressing tendency. There's a tendency to please. And because the mood of pleasing was there, Krishna ate the banana peel. Duryodhana ko bhog na bhayo, rukh saag vidur ghar khayo, aise prem supujari radhe, sham sham sham. Right? So Krishna can't be impressed so easily. That's one thing we learn from this. Right? Even Atri, there was a Muni called Atri Muni. He wanted to impress. So he was standing in fourth canto, you'll see Atri. He was standing on one leg. And when he had a very vague conception of Supreme Lord. And because he had a mixed conception of Lord, all three deities, the Trimurtis, they came, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. The Adipatis of Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun, all three of them came. And what did he do? He was standing on one leg only and hopping on one leg he went. He did not keep his second leg down. He was hopping on one leg. Langadi karte hue gaya wo. He was hopping on one leg and he went. Why? He wanted to show off that I'm still doing austerity. See what kind of austerity I've done and I'm still doing it. I'm not broken my vow. This kind of impressing game doesn't work with Krishna. Correct? And the analogy given here is apt, very apt. Now, when you have to worship the sun, how do people worship the sun? They worship sun with the deepa, the lamp. But from where that lamp has got fire, from there is the fire element coming. Fire element ultimately comes from sun. So your Tera Tujko Arpan. How do people worship Ganga? They take some part of Ganga and offer it back to Ganga. Tera Tujko Arpan. So that is only something which is possible. My spiritual master gives, his own Radhanath Maharaj gives an example of his own life. So he used to say that his mother used to have very beautiful gardens. Yes, and the gardens, she used to grow a lot of roses. And one day, yes, Ivin Slevin, it was her birthday. And what Maharaj did was, he was a small boy, Richard. So he went, he took flower from his mother's flower garden and went and gave it to his mother and said happy birthday. And mother was so touched. She was crying tears. And she said, this is the best gift I've ever received in my life. Maharaj was wondering in one sense, what did I do? I went to whose garden? Her garden. And what did I do? I plucked her flower, which she is cultivating. And I offered to her. All I did was just took and offered it to her. That she became so happy. She was crying tears. And this is how Krishna also cries tears when we offer. In Patram, Pushpam, Phalam. Everything belongs to Krishna. But when you take those articles and offer with the right bhava. So Krishna twice mentions bhakti in 9.26. Right? He doesn't focus much on the articles. Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. Tadaham Bhakti Upahritam Ashnami Priyatatmana. So I accept the bhakti. I see the devotion, I accept the devotion. That is all. Bhavagrahi Janardhan. He only sees that. Devotion is the only content. So similarly here, although Krishna is the person who is Atmaram, he doesn't need anything. And even if he needs something, he is Purnakam. He desires it to be fulfilled. He has a Satya Sankalpa Shakti. Satya Sankalpa Shakti. Whatever he says happens. And then, despite that, even otherwise somebody comes and gives something that belongs to Krishna only. No? There is nothing separate outside Krishna. There was a joke. Once there was a scientist who went to Krishna and told that you are God, I will disprove you. So all the best, Krishna told them. Really, I will, so many people have faith in you. I will destroy that faith in you. All right. And how am I going to do it? Is by creating something of my own. And Krishna says, wish you all the very best. And then this person, he starts putting his hand down to pick up something from the earth. Krishna says, get your own dirt. Don't take anything from mine. And then he realizes how helpless I am. So everything belongs to Lord. Even the dirt doesn't belong to the scientist. Right. Okay. So now here, now we have been able to see the bhav. What we have seen is Krishna coming and disturbing the melancholy or destroying that melancholy in which the Dwarkavasis were absorbed. They were in that slumber of separation through blowing of conch. And as soon as the conch is heard, we saw the eagerness, the Bhartara Darshana Lalasa, the eagerness of Dwarkavasis, and they're coming with all presentations to make to Krishna, and they're offering it to Krishna. It's like offering lamb to the sun. So we saw that eagerness. So now what the Dwarkavasis will offer in the next few verses is their prayers. So now this is the heart of the Bhagavatam. And through prayers, what happens? The prayers, the true bhav, the inner bhav of the devotee comes out when the devotee prays. Stotra. It is called stotra. When we offer the same prayer, it becomes stava. I was reading this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Stotra means the standard prayers offered by the different devotees. So these are Dwarka Vasi Stotra. But when the same stotra we personally sing in front of Lord, that becomes stava. So when Krishna hears the stava, our stava, he remembers, oh, if we go to in front of Radha Vrindavan, Radha Kunj Bihari, Radha Gopinath, oh, your deities. You go in front of them and recite these verses, the stotras of Dwarkavasis, they become our stava. And then Krishna remembers, hey, my Dwarkavasis, they sing these verses, and now this person is singing. Okay, so whatever mercy I gave them, I'll give the same mercy to them. Because Krishna remembers his devotee, he gives all the mercy to those devotees. So that's the beauty of reciting the stotras. So now we're going to see some prayers and stotras of Dwarkavasis in verse number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Beautiful shlokas. And again, when the Bhagavatam is getting emotional, the verses become longer. Emotions come out, the long meters. Natasmate nata sadangri pankajam virincha vairincha surendra vanditam parayanam shemamihechatam param nayatra kala prabhave paraprabho.
Translation. The citizens said, O Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma, the four sanas, and even the king of heaven. You are the ultimate race for those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, and the inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon you.
Just try to understand the shloka nicely. Natasma. Nata means log natamastak ho rahe hain. Natasmate. We are offering our obeisances unto you. Natha, O Lord. Sada angri pankajam. Always. Let us always be offering namaskar and be situated at your lotus feet. Yes, sada, always. The second line says Virinchi. Virinchi is Brahma, and Vairinchi is the children of Brahma, like the four sanas. Four sanas are Sanat Kumar, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Sanaka. So these four Kumaras. These four Kumaras represent one limb. They represent Tapasya, Yoga, Vairagya, and Jnana. So these are the four Kumaras. They represent these four things. And Surendra is Indra, of course. Indra and all the demigods, Vanditam. So you are worshipped by these great personalities. Brahma, Brahma's children, The demigods, they're all worshipping you. And we are bowed down to you. We are getting an opportunity to bow down to such a Lord who's worshipped by these great personalities of the universe. Parayanam Shemam Iha Ichchatam Param. Yes. So the law, you are the personality who should be taken shelter of if we are really aspiring the highest benefit. You are the only one who can award us the highest benefit. Param. Param Ichchatam. Anybody desiring the highest welfare. The highest welfare is what? The highest welfare is developing love for God. So if anybody wants that, then you have to become Krishna Parayan, Vasudeva Parayan, Narayan Parayan. So you have to become that. Nayatra Kala Prabhavet Paraprabhu. And there's absolutely no influence of time upon you. Yes, in this world, Kala Karma Gunadino Dehoyam Pancha Bhautika. As soon as Pancha Bhautika, the Panch Mahabhut ka sharir dharan karta hai vyakti, usko Pancha Bhautika kehte hain. Anybody becomes Pancha Bhautika, he comes under the control of three elements, Kala, Karma and Guna. But among these three also, the supreme most is Kala. The time factor is the supreme most. And this we learnt in Bhishma Dev section also. Yes, Kala is the strongest. But Kala has no influence on Krishna. Why? Because he's the one who's created Kala also. The deity of Kala is Shiva. It's not Krishna. The Kala is Kala Bhairava. Kala and Kali, husband and wife. Shiva, Shivani, Bhava, Bhavani, Kala, Kali. So Kala is actually Kala Bhairava. Kali is Bhairavi. So they are the influencing factors. So Kala has no name. He is the master of Kala. Yes, he is the master of Kala. Actually, Kala is controlled by Sudarshan. In the 9th canto Bhagavatam, when you read Ambarish's prayers, so that time he mentions that how Sudarshan controls the Kala, and because of that Sudarshan Chakra's Kala, the Srishti, Sthiti and Pralay takes place. But Sudarshan is controlled by Krishna. Krishna's weapon is Sudarshan. He is a servant, pure-hearted servant of Krishna. Sudarshana. He is also Vishnu Tattva, but he is servant of Krishna. Sudarshana. Correct. So Krishna is not having influence of time. Okay. So now here Prabhupada writes one line in the purport, which is something very, very amazing for us to discuss. The clear consciousness of the cognizant living being is God consciousness, in which one bows down to him in all circumstances. Yeah. So this is the natural result of being Krishna conscious. If somebody becomes Krishna conscious, he will always bow down. Natosmya. So they are telling what? Natasmate nata sada angri pankajam. Always we want to remain at Krishna's lotus feet. So this is the sum and substance of being Krishna conscious. Always. If somebody is always Krishna conscious, wants to always be in Krishna's lotus. He doesn't want to. And what does lotus feet mean? So my spiritual master gave a very beautiful explanation to this. What is the meaning of this lotus feet? The meaning of lotus feet means service. That is the meaning of lotus feet. Service. Paricharya. To always serve the Lord. So the Dwarkavasis want to constantly be engaged in Krishna's service. Correct? Now, why have Dwarkavasis chosen Krishna as master? I will just read one, I will show you one verse of Uddhava. Why Uddhava accepted Krishna as the supreme. This comes in 11th canto. And Uddhava is actually canvassing all of us that please accept Krishna only as the supreme Lord. Why? 5 reasons he gives. This is the shloka. Tasmad bhavantam anavadyam anantaparam sarvajnam ishwaram akunta vikunta dishnyam nirvinna diyahamuhe vrajana vitapto narayanam narasakam sharanam prapadye. So here 5 reasons are mentioned. One thing is Krishna is anavadyam. Anavadyam means he is a spotless master. In this world, we have to serve many masters. Right from the beginning, a child is born, mother becomes the master. And then he grows up a little bit, he has to follow the master in the school. They call headmaster, master. Thoda bada ho jata, he has to follow boss. Little more he grows, the spouse, husband, wife, they have to follow each other. When the children grow up, then he has to become servant of the children. So lifelong, you have to accept, and the master keeps changing. But there is nobody who is a perfect master. They have flaw in their character. They may have flaw in their conduct. They may have flaw in their personality. Yes. So there's some master may not be knowledgeable. He may be bondu, duffer. But because of karma, he is put as the master on top. Some master is a characterless fellow. He doesn't know how to deal with opposite gender. He doesn't know how to deal with money. Doesn't know how to deal with position. He's an exploiting master. But Krishna is a spotless master. Yes, spotless master. Why? Because he conquered Hiranyakashipu but empowered Prahlad. He conquered Vali but empowered Sugriv. He conquered Lanka but empowered Vibhishan. He did not. He never ever has a desire to be the boss. That bossing mentality is absent. And people love to be with such a master who doesn't have that bossing mentality. So that is a major flaw that we see in the masters of this world. They have desire to exploit, desire to control, desire to enjoy by making the other person the object of enjoyment. So such frailties and bad qualities exist in masters of this. But Krishna is completely free. He is a master who serves his devotees. Krishna is washing the feet of Sudama. Krishna is becoming the chariot driver of Arjuna. So here is a Lord who becomes servant of his devotees. Yes, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is instructing Krishna that Krishna, your service in Rajya Yajna is to wash the feet of all the guests who come. So Krishna is happily doing this service. So which kind of master becomes subordinate to his servants? So he is Anavadya, first reason. Second reason is he is Anantaparam. In this world, person can exert control only over a limited time, limited space. Now, suppose somebody is a boss. You're a boss only in your company. You go to another company, they will kick you out if you try to be a boss. A king can be only, a ruler only of his country, not the neighboring country. Neighboring country, he may not be respected. He may be treated as enemy. Whereas Krishna is a supreme Lord who is respected as a supreme Lord beyond time and space. He went to Varuna Loka, got back Nanda Maharaj. He went to Yamaloka, brought back the dead son of his guru. He went to Vaikuntha Loka to give darshan to Lord Narayan. So every place he goes, everywhere he is welcomed and received as a supreme personality of Godhead. Because Krishna cannot be restricted with space. Number two, with time. Only foolish people imagine that, oh, Bhagavan Krishna to Dwapar Yug mein 5000 saal pehle aaye. Nahin. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead always. He didn't have to become God. In course of time, he became God. अच्छा द्वापर युग के बाद कृष्ण भगवान बन गए. उससे पहले कौन थे? उससे पहले राम थे. उससे पहले कौन थे? उससे पहले नारायण थे. No, it's a wrong conception. Ambarish Maharaj worshipped Krishna. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. He was in the Satyuga of the beginning of Vaivasvata Mantra. Dhruv Maharaj, whom did he worship? Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He was the direct grandson of Swayambhu Manu. We leave that. The personality who first came and shook hands with Brahma, who is it? In Gopal Tapani Upanishad, it said it was a Gopavesh that Krishna took to come and shake hands with Brahma. So he also worshipped Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yes. So Krishna has always been the supreme personality of God. He doesn't have election. Yes. There's no election. Okay. Prime Minister, 5 saal ke baad change hoga. Koi aur, not everyone is Modi to be PM for 10 years. Like 5 saal ke baad nikal denge. Chalo, ho gaya bahut. Chalo, abhi. Agla. Next PM we want. So it's not that no next God. Krishna, thank you so much for being God till now. So somebody else will become God. So beyond time and space, Ananta Param. The second reason why Krishna is the master. Third reason is he's Sarvagyam. So in this world you find that there is an employee who's working hard under one boss. The boss ke niche bahut mehnat kar raha hai. So 4 years he has served the boss. And the 5th year is about to get promotion, but the boss resigns from the company and goes to another company. Hare Krishna, kya ho gaya iska? Iska patta kat gaya. Now he cannot do anything. So he has put so much energy in impressing the boss. But the next boss who comes, you have to work hard again to make a relationship. You have to work hard to please him again. He is not Sarvagnya. He is not all-knowing that, oh, he has been coming to company before the boss. And he's leaving the company after the boss. Itna hard work kiya hai, promotion ke liye usne. No, that boss is not Sarvagnya. On the other hand, Krishna is Sarvagnya. He knows everything. And Sarvagnya, only a person who's Sarvagnya will be Kritagnya. That's why when Sudarshan Chakra was retracted, Krishna's finger got cut because of the Sudarshan Chakra. And Draupadi immediately, without a split second delay, tore the end of her sari and tied around Krishna's finger. And Krishna promised her that at some point of time, I will reciprocate unlimitedly with you. And when Draupadi required saris, Krishna supplied unlimited sari to her in exchange for that tying of her sari end to Krishna's finger. He's Sarvagyam. The fourth is he's Ishwaram, controller. supreme Parameshwaram. So it is said, there's a beautiful shloka that comes, the Shruti mantras, which speaks about this. Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram, Tam Devatanam Paramam Chadevam, Patim Patinam Paramam Parastat, Vidama Devam Bhuvanesha Medyam, Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate, Natasamascha Vedikascha Vidrishyate, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate, Swabhavaki Jnana Balakriyacha. There can be so many controllers and masters in this universe. Yes, there is Indra, who is master of protection. There is Yama, the master of death. There is Shiva, the master of dissolution. Brahma, the master of creation. But all these masters are all nothing but they are dependent masters. Krishna is the independent master. So he is the Parameshwaram. Right? Even Yudhishthir Maharaj, very nice in Vishnu Sahasranamam, he asks, Yudhishthir Maharaj asks a question to Bhishma Dev. Kimekam devatam loke kimvapyekam parayanam suvantakam kamachantam prapnu yormanama shubham kodharmastarva dharmanam dharma paramato mata kim japam muchyate jandur janma samstara vandanat. And then Bhishma answers, Bhishma uvacha jagat prabhum deva devam anantam purushottamam tuvam nama sahasrena purushastata tamaiva charchayam nityam bhaktya purushamavyayam Dhyayan stuvam namasyancha yajamanastavevacha anadinidanam vishnum sarvaloka maheshwaram lokadhyaksham stuvan nityam sarva dukkodido bhavet brahmanyam sarva dharmagyam lokanam kirtivardhanam lokanatam mahadbhutam sarva bhuta bhavodbhavam. So he says, the Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha. He goes on and says, Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha. That Bhagavan is Devaki Sutaha. Krishna is that. So Vishnu Sahasranam in one sense, Baldev Vidyabhushan has given commentary. So the 1,000 names of Krishna. So it is Krishna's 1,000 names. And same thing he says. Krishna also tells Arjuna, Yo mam nama sahasrena shotum ichhati pandavaha. Anyone desiring to hear my 1,000 names, Mahi Sahasra. So I'm sure somehow devotees develop some aversion to Vishnu. I thought Vishnu ka 1,000 naam hai na. Nahi, wo Krishna ke hi naam hai. Each and every word is Krishna. Is glorifying Krishna's different gunas and qualities. Right? So they are Krishna's names. So he is Ishwaram. And the fourth one is Akunta Vikunta Dishyam. Now in this, recently there was a news. We preach in Kharadi. Some of you may be knowing about Kharadi. And there's a company called Credit Suisse. And there is one society where you take a lotus flower and you throw. The 99% probabilities it will hit a Credit Suisse employee. The Swiss bank. So like that society we preach. And there was a big, everybody's heart was shaking because it was taken over by UBS. The UBS took over our company, Prabhuji. CS taken over by UBS. Yes. So companies get taken over. So I told them, please join JBS. This company never gets taken over. What is the JBS? Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. Join this company. So Krishna's Dharma is Akunta Vikunta Dishnyam. It is never overtaken. Nobody can overtake Krishna. Heavens can be taken over by Asuras. Indra is defeated. Asuras take over heavens. Happens. Satta palatti rehti. Recently one country, we all know, was taken over by Taliban. They took over the government. This is something very common. It keeps happening in material world. In material world, there is a competition, the world of competition. On the other hand, the spiritual, Akunta Vikunta Dishyam, the supreme personality of Godhead's planet. Yes, Golok Vrindavan. That Golok Vrindavan is competitionless world. There's nobody who can go and compete with Krishna. There and thus nobody can take over. These are the 5 reasons. He's spotless. He's supreme Lord beyond time and space. He's all-knowing. He's the supreme controller. And he has an abode which is undefeatable. These are the 5 reasons Uddhava says that makes Krishna the best master. And now Dwarkavasi, of course, this is through knowledge, but Dwarkavasis, their affection and love for Krishna is something which is spontaneous. The next, affectionately, they're going to express their relationship with Krishna in the 7th sloka. Bhavayanastvam bhava vishva bhavana tameva mata tasuhrit patipita tvam sadgururna paramam cha daivatam yasyanu kritino bhabuvima.
Hare Krishna. Translation. O Creator of the universe, you are our mother, well-wisher, Lord, Father, spiritual master, and worshipable deity. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy.
Amazing. So first part they're saying is Krishna Tomeva Mata Pita Tomeva Bandhu Saka Tomeva Vidya Dranam Tomeva Sarva Mama Deva Deva. The same version of the sloka that they are saying. So Krishna is only everything. All possible relatives. For us, we have sambandha with Krishna only. Yes, our relationship is only with Krishna. Yeah. And Krishna has natural, he has a heart to be Suhridam Sarva Bhutana. Krishna is that loving, well-wishing friend of everybody. And just by following Krishna, all good will take place. I'll just give one example in the interest of time. So the example is of Karna. Now Krishna called Karna just before, 1 week before the battle began. Krishna was called and they went to the outskirts of Hastinapur. Thoda bahar gaye. There will not be any spy or there will not be Duryodhana's henchmen hanging around. So thoda bahar chale gaye. And then Krishna reveals, he tells that you are actually a Pandava. The son of a lady before her marriage belongs to her husband. So you are technically a Pandava. What are you doing? And then Krishna gives him good instructions. Yes, that how you join, what you have to do, simple. You simply have to join the Pandavas. See, they are on the side of Dharma, Duryodhana is Adharma. Pandavas are your brothers, Kunti is your mother, you have to be with them. And in fact, if you go and tell Pandavas, you announce that I am your elder brother, Yudhishthira Maharaj will happily renounce his kingdom and you become the Chakravarti Samrat. And because Duryodhana has friendship with you, and if you join the Pandavas, Duryodhana will not even consider the war. And the war doesn't happen, so many innocent lives can be saved. All you have to do is just have a strong heart and join the Pandavas. And automatically everything will be proper. So this was the instruction given by Krishna. And Karna tells, if you read that section of Mahabharata, Karna expresses that I am very weak-hearted fellow. Krishna, whatever you're saying is right. You're the well-wishing friend of all living entities. You're the Supreme Lord. I know everything. But I can't follow your instructions. So Dwarkavasis followed instructions of Krishna and became successful. And we see the example of Karna. He had the great opportunity. So Karna preferred being a moralist than a Krishna Bhakta. Had Karna surrendered to instruction of Krishna, he would have been glorified like Prahlad and Vibhishan. Prahlad gave up association of his demoniac atheistic father and surrendered to Krishna. Vibhishan gave up the association of his brother. Of course, he was removed and he came and surrendered to Lord Ram. Yes, he came and surrendered. So even Karna would have been glorified and revered as a Mahajan. There would have been one more Mahajan added in the list. Karna Mahajan, 13th Mahajan. He would have become like that. But he wanted to be calculated like a mundane moralist, a Dani. That's how he wanted to be known, rather than being a Krishna Bhakta. Yeah. So Krishna ko follow kiya, sab baat hai. Okay. And Prabhupada in the purport is about SAP. How many of you are corporate here? Many of you. Just raising hand to inspire you to raise. Corporates. So what is SAP? SAP. Corporates will tell.
सब आदमी परेशान.
Good one. System, applications and products. So that is SAP. Our SAP is not Sab Admi Pareshan. Our SAP is Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan. So that is the SAP knowledge. Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan, Prayojan Gyan. So that Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan and Prayojan Gyan, all three are expressed in this shloka. If you read Bhagavatam first three shlokas, the first three shlokas of Bhagavatam, 1.1.1, 2 and 3, these three shlokas summarize the whole Vedas. The first shloka describes the Sambandha Gyan, the second shloka describes Abhideya Gyan, and the third shloka describes the Prayojan Gyan. And this one shloka of Bhavaya Nastom Bhava Vishwa Bhavana, Tvameva Mata Suhit Patipita, Tvam Sat Gururna Paramam Cha Devatam Yasyanu Vitya Kritino Bhavuma. This describes the Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojan together in one verse. So it's a beautiful shloka. This is a shloka for, I guess it will be memorization shloka also for you. We also had memorized this in our Bhakti Vaibhava. This is a very beautiful shloka. You can all memorize. Next. Aho sanatha bhavata smayadvayam traivishtapanapi dura darshanam premasmita snigdha nirikshananam pashyema rupam tava sarva saubhagam.
Oh, it is our good luck that we have come again today under your protection by your presence. For your lordship rarely visits even the denizens of heaven. Now it is possible for us to look into your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glances. We can now see your transcendental form, full of all auspiciousness.
Nice. This is a very, very Taipishpanam apidura darshanam. That means even the demigods are not able to see this. And the same thing Krishna tells to Arjuna also. If you go to the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I will show you that verse. Yeah. So first we'll just see Arjuna's verse. Arjuna uvacha drishtvedam manusham rupam tava saumyam janardana idanim asmi samvritta sacheta prakritim gata. So Arjuna became very happy. अरे भयानक विश्वरूप दर्शन देख के परेशान हो गया था मैं, डर गया था. I had become bewildered completely. But दृष्ट्वा इदम मनुष्यम रूपम, ये जो आपका ये मनुष्य रूप देखा, सौम्य रूप, तत् सौम्यम, this called सौम्य रूप. विराट पुरुष is called घोर रूप. Yes, idanim asmi samvrittah sacheta. I've got sachet now. I've come back to my consciousness and my nature is regained. That means our rasa, Sakya rasa is back. And then what does Krishna say in return? Sri Bhagavan uvacha Sudurdarsham idam rupam. This is not very easy. Drishtva lasi yan mama deva api yasya rupasya nityam darshana kamshinam. He says that this is already my darshan is durdarsham. It is not very easy to get my darshan. But this two-handed form of Lord is Sudurdarsham. This is the rarest of the darshan, this particular form, which you are watching. Arjuna, Drishtvanasi and Mama, jo tum mera dekh rahe ho. Very rare. Deva api, even the demigods, Asya Rupasya, Nityam Darshana Kankshana. They are eternally, always aspiring to see this two-handed form. It's not very easy to see Krishna. In fact, when Brahma, along with all the demigods, he goes to the Kshir Sagar. So that time Brahma doesn't get darshan, he gets only SMS. He gets SMS in the mind. Right? SMS or WhatsApp you can call from Lord. And he gives a message. Now one may ask a question, then why to go there? Oh, धाम का प्रभाव रहता है. साथ में भक्त लोग मिलके यात्रा करके धाम में जाते हैं. Yes, so धाम का प्रभाव रहता है. वहां पे साधना बहुत प्रबल हो जाती है. 1000 times sadhana increases. That's why they go to Kshir Sagar, to intensify their sadhana. But as such, there they don't get darshan of Lord. Brahmaji gets WhatsApp. That's it, one message. And that he reads out in front of all the demigods. Puraiva pumsa vritotro dharajvaro bhavadviramsair yadushu upajanyataham. All you demigods, you become Yadu, Antak, Boja. Then the dynasty you become, take your Amsha, take your form and assist in Lord's pastime. So he speaks like that. He just repeats the message. Correct? So there is no darshan very easily. So Krishna's darshan is how rare. This is Shirodakshaya Vishnu. He is the Amsha of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He is the Amsha of Mahavishnu. He is an Amsha of Narayan. He is the Amsha of Sankarshan. He is the Amsha of another Narayan. He is the Amsha of Mula Sankarshan. He is the Amsha of Balram, who is an Amsha of Krishna. Can you imagine? How Dura Darshanam. How difficult is the darshan of Krishna. Then how do we get darshan of Krishna? The same thing that Prabhupada writes, I am just showing you the verse in Bhagavad Gita. How to get darshan of Krishna? If you want darshan of Krishna, Bhaktya tu ananya shakya hameva vidojana Nyatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum chu param tapa. So Dwarkavasis have attained this. So what is that? Ananya Bhakti. Bhaktya tu ananya shakya. Shakya means possible. So you can see get my darshan only, it's possible through Ananya Bhakti. Ahameva vidojana. So thus you will know me. Not only just Nyatum, you will know me, Drashtum, you will see me, and Praveshtum, you will be with me and serve me. 3 things you will get. And that is the link to the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What is Ananya Bhakti? So that is explained in the 12th chapter of Gita. So the point is, Dwarkavasis are situated in this Ananya Bhakti. That is why they are seeing Krishna's form always. That is mentioned. Next. Taryambujaksha pasasara bho bhavan kurun madunvata suhridya dikshaya tatrabda koti pratima chano bhavet ravim vinakshnor ivanastavachuta. Translation.
O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like a million years. O infallible one, at that time our eyes become useless as if bereft of sun.
Yeah. If there is no sun, eyes are no use. There's no use of having eyes. Even if you have आंखों की रोशनी, जैसे ना उसकी आंखों की रोशनी चली गई है. So even if you have that आंखों का रोशनी, there is no use if there is no sun in the sky. So similarly, our eyes are useless. They're useless because when you are not there, when we don't get your darshan. That is how they feel. So there is something very special. I mentioned in the purport, and I would like to give an example illustration for that. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur would go and take darshan of the Lord from outside. He would stand outside the temple and be there. And many of them, disciples or followers, would ask, Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, please come inside, darshan ke liye. He says, no, drashta is Lord. Lord is the drashta and he is watching me. That is darshan. What can I see with my charma chakshu? Yes, what are we saying? Same thing happened in one of the yatras of my spiritual master. So there was a complaint that some devotees are pushing each other in darshan and knocking off the senior devotees, Varishta Vaishnavas. So next day, when this was reported to Maharaj, that devotees are in hari-bari, pushing and knocking and hitting the senior Vaishnavas and Varishtas, and darshan is becoming like that. So then, in the evening lecture, Guru Maharaj explained what actually is darshan. Darshan is not we are going to see the Lord, but darshan is when we are going to be shown, we are showing ourselves to the Lord. So Lord is going to see us, not that we are going to see. Yes. So our senses, our eyes are all charma chakshus. The drashta, the actual seer is Krishna. Correct? And even if you see otherwise, why are we able to see? Because we have eyes. Why the eyes are able to see? Eye is the hardware, but behind there is a chakshu, which is software. Yes, akshini is the hardware, akshini, akh. Behind that there is chakshu, the software because of which we are able to see. That's what people say, na, aankhon ki roshni chali gayi. They may have the physical eye, but they don't have that chakshu. And what operates the chakshu is the devata, Surya Dev. And who activates the Surya Dev? Paramatma. And Paramatma is who's Amsha? Krishna. So who is the actual drashta? Krishna. It's Krishna who is the one who's seeing. Volume is low. देखता हूँ 1 minute. Yeah, it is low. Thank you. पहले बोलना चाहिए था. अभी क्लास खत्म होने वाला है 10 मिनट में. Okay, anyways, it was low. I'm sorry. Okay, next verse. कथं वयं नाथ चिरोषिते त्वयि प्रसन्न दृष्ट्या किल तापशोषणं जीवेम ते सुन्दरहास शोभितम् अपश्यमानवदनं मनोहरम् इति चोदीरिता वाच प्रजानां भक्तवत्सल शृण्वानोऽनुग्रहं दृष्ट्या वितन्मन्त्राविशत्पुरम्. Translation.
Mataji, you are muted. Purva Mataji, you were muted, so you can read again.
O Master, if you live abroad all the time, then we cannot look at your attractive face, whose smiles vanquish all our sufferings. How can we exist without your presence? Upon hearing their speeches, the Lord, who is very kind to the citizens and the devotees, entered the city of Dwarka and acknowledged all their greetings by casting his transcendental glance over them.
Yeah. So 2 things they're mentioning. One thing they're mentioning, we will always stay out. How can we have your darshan? Our eyes become useless. So that is again their lalasa, that bhav is there. And second thing that they're mentioning, the second thing that the verse is mentioning, that Lord reciprocated through with each and every one of them. I'll show you one very nice photo, very nice photo, and I saw I was very, very inspired. Yeah. This is our Lord. So this is Krishna leaving Hastinapur, but you can see something very special happening here. See, this person is offering pranam to Lord, and Lord is blessing him straight. At the same time, in amidst all this, Krishna doesn't neglect anyone. So this lady is wanting to take a garland and offer to Krishna, and he's waiting for her. So he's glancing on her also, that you come and give garland to me. So like this, Krishna is Akhila Rasamrit Murti. He very nicely reciprocates with everybody. He reciprocates with all. He glanced over everybody. All of them got Krishna's Karunya Kataksh. Karunya Kataksh. They got. Okay. Many times people come and ask, this is a very famous question. I do a show on Hare Krishna TV, which is called CD Baat Prabhuji Ke Saath. And this show is something which I started in NVCC actually. We had a stall, and in that stall, we used to do two things. One thing was Kaun Banega Krishna Bhakt quiz, and second was drama. So some of the drama artists, they went and slept off. A drama ka time tha. Ab kya kare? So there was an idea. We'll have question answers. CD Baat Prabhuji Ke Saath. So I told them, Swamiji aaye hain London se, you can introduce me like that and I'll answer all questions. And somehow surprisingly, it became great hit. And then we decided that we'll keep doing this. Every year we'll do this. Har saal karenge. Aise karke 4-5 saal kiya humne. So there, surprisingly, every question answer session, all used to ask, some or the other Mataji, you used to ask one question. हम भगवान का दर्शन करते, फिर आंखों में आंसू क्यों आ जाते हैं? Like that they ask question. Why we are crying? So, like I give the same standard answer every time. That what happens is sometimes we are going to meet a friend who's a very dear, long cherished friend. We're meeting after 3 years, 4 years. Things get very emotional. People start crying. And people nowadays post YouTube videos also. Now there are two friends. They're going to meet after 2 years. And as soon as they see each other, meet each other on an airport, they're crying and they come and embrace like anything. So emotions come out. So similarly, your heart-to-heart friend Krishna is somebody who's standing and you recognize that. Subconsciously, unconsciously, or in conscience, you're recognizing that he is the friend. He is our heart-to-heart friend. That is why people sit and they cry. So now even the Dwarka Vasis are feeling that emotions, being separated from the Lord for a long time. Bahut ho gaya, abhi mat jao kidhar bhi. And after this, we don't hear Krishna leaving anywhere else. He doesn't leave after this. Yeah. So in one sense, for us, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavritah Mudoyam Nabijanati Ma Lokamamajam Abhyam. For all of us, Krishna has put the covering of Mahamaya. And thus Krishna, we are not able to see Krishna. Just like the sun is covered by the clouds. Of course, clouds are produced by sun only. And those clouds only block our vision of the sun. So that is our case. But in case of pure devotees, in order to increase the love and intensity of their devotion, Krishna covers them with Yogamaya and disappears from them, their vision, so that their intensity and love increases. On Dwarkavasis, it's Yogamaya that is operating, not Mahamaya. So now what we are going to do is, one by one, we will only read the translation of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Read the translation of the verses, and I will 2-3 minutes give an explanation to this. So one section, now Dwarkavasis welcoming Krishna is done. So now how they decorated Dwarka, that you can all read. Please read the translation. 11th.
As Bhogwati, the capital of Nagloka, is protected by the Nagas, so was Dwarka protected by the descendants of Rushni, Bhoja, Madhu, Dasharya, Arya, Kukur, Andaka, etc., who were as strong as Lord Krishna.
Yes. Next.
The city of Dwarkapuri was filled with the opulences of all seasons. Everywhere there were hermitages, orchards, flower gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water breeding lotus flowers.
Thank you. Next.
The city gateway are the household doors and festoon arcs along the roads were all nicely decorated with festive signs like plantain trees and mango leaves, all to welcome the Lord. Flags, garlands, and painted sites and slogans all combined to share the sunshine.
Thank you. Next.
The highways, subways, lanes, markets, and public meeting places were all thoroughly cleansed and then moistened with scented water. And to welcome the Lord, fruits, flowers, and unbroken seeds were strewn everywhere.
Last one.
In each and every door of the residential houses, auspicious things like yogurt, unbroken fruits, sugar cane, and full water pots with articles for worship, along with incense and candles, were all displayed.
Thank you. So what we learn in this section is Vedic reception. The time now is 4:28 in my watch. I will end sharp at 4:35 with your permission, all of us. Just 5 minutes extra. So this is all about Vedic reception. And Prabhupada says Vedic reception was never dry. It was so colorful. It's so natural. It is very, very natural. So Prabhupada in every chapter refers to natural. I remember once what had happened was there was a youth camp festival. We all had gone to Nashik. And it was the morning time and the devotees were decorating altar. And we all were sitting and doing japa. His Grace Radhishampu was also doing his japa 4:30 morning. And then His Grace Radhishampu suddenly noticed. He called me and His Grace Antardeep to come here. Oh, early morning, these devotees have gone and got these flowers. And we said, oh, okay, just check. What is this flowers? And then he went and checked the flowers. It came and told Prabhuji, they're artificial flowers. Prabhuji said, nonsense. If you put artificial flowers, the students will all get attracted and they'll remain artificial in their consciousness. Get natural flowers. Go. So हमारा जपा छोड़ के हमको natural flower जाके लेना पड़ा. But Prabhuji was very specific. Nothing artificial flowers, artificial garland should not be there. Once Prabhuji had gone to one place, they offered him artificial garland. That and he says, hey, it is looking different. What is this? And they said artificial garland. I said, Prabhuji, please don't get angry. I'll find out. So I went and found out. And those devotees said, oh, kya karo Prabhuji? Time nahi mila, dukaan dur tha. Aisa ho gaya. Then Prabhuji, I was like Shuka parrot between them and them. Prabhuji, I was discussing, and Prabhuji told me even simple flowers they offer, simple garland, not having any shape but simple flowers. That is better than that artificial garland, which was like big. शादी का पहना था ना बड़ा सा, वैसा garland offer किया with all artificial flowers. So here we find that Dwarka means natural fruits, natural grains, natural flowers. Like that, everybody had glorified. And those days, even on the roads, there used to be very, very nice mango trees and all wonderful fruits trees used to be there. Nowadays, people, they want to make business. That's why they don't plant any of these trees on the road. नहीं. अगर plant किया तो लोग खाएंगे. अरे खाने के लिए तो है. खाओ ना, क्या problem है? If people get fruits, नहीं, फिर वो wholesale retail business नहीं होगा. People are more conscious. So that's why at the advent of Kali Yuga, they plant all inauspicious. Inauspicious trees means thorny trees. And auspicious trees means which gives very nice flowers and fruits. So that we don't find. Only thorny trees are there. And thorny trees are also not useless in Krishna's creation. Even the thorny trees can be used as manure. They can be used as fuel. So many things can be used. They can be compost. Many things you can do. Correct? So Prabhupada mentions that. Vedic civilization means natural. That is the main thing. And they had decorated very personally. So Dwarka Vasis, each and every house was ready to welcome Krishna. And they had many flags. On the flags, they had special markings of Hanuman and Garuda, two of their personalities. Why? Because Hanuman and Garuda are great devotees. And when we have flags with devotees, Krishna is even more pleased. That's why even when we go on Harinam Sankirtan, we carry Prabhupada. You've seen devotees? We carry Prabhupada's flags and goes. The Krishna will be very pleased with that. We have Prabhupada, we have Gaur Nitai, we have Hare Krishna Mahamantra. All these banners we take and go for Harinam. So even Prabhupada is there. So Garuda, Hanuman, these are all two great servitors of Lord. So all the patakas, the flags were decorated with these two devotees' names. Right? And one very important thing, 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about sacrifice in goodness. So sacrifice in mode of goodness should be performed with faith, as per scriptural rules and injunctions, and with the distribution of prasadam. Any meeting without eating is cheating. That is Vedic law. Any meeting without eating is cheating. So every house they were distributing prasad, and Lord was going to every house and accepting some bhoga. And whatever remained, they were distributing. They were distributing to others. So all devotees were also receiving. Correct? So through this we have discussed verses number, all verses we discussed. Very nice. Last one thing I wanted to discuss about Nagalok. So this Nagalok contains many snakes, and these snakes have Nagamani. They are the subterranean hellish planets. And these Nagas are very powerful. They don't allow anybody to enter here. But somehow Ravana has good PR skills, because of which he had friends in Nagaloka. And he took some help of Nagas also to fight with Lord Ramchandra. And even Hiranyakashipu had conquered Nagalok. So when to poison Prahlad, he had brought the snakes of Nagaloka and put their poison. Sabse Visha. And he had put Prahlad also in the pit of snakes. He had put with Nagaloka. So with snakes with Nagamani. Like that. So they are very strong snakes. Very strong. Even Bhima goes to Nagalok. So Bhima goes down. He's poisoned by Duryodhana. So his body drowns and goes to Nagalok. And there some serpents bite him. So what is the counter for a poison? Another poison. If somebody gets a poison, you have to drink another poison to get countered. So because that snake gives poison to Bhima, he becomes very strong. He's released and then starts beating up snakes, one by one snakes. Then they go to the king of Nagaloka and they tell, ek mota sa ladka aaya hai, sab ko maar raha hai. Then Nagaloka's king, he sends very strong snakes. He has more stronger snakes. And they capture Bhima and bring. So, bhai, tu kaun hai? Kyun maar raha hai? Bole, ye log mere ko kaatne aa rahe isliye maar raha hu. Who are you? I'm Kunti Putra Bhim. And Kunti Bhoja was right there. So Kunti Bhoja comes and says, oh, this is my grandson. Okay, very nice. So please. So where does Bhima get strength from? From Nagalok. So Nagalok is known for the strength. That's why the example of Nagalok is used. So Bhima already was born with 2000 elephants of strength. When he was born only, there was an announcement made. Brahma usually makes announcement. Says, ye Bhim Sen hai. He is a Vayu Putra and he will have strength of 2000 elephants. So he already had 2000 elephants. And then he was given some bottles. There were so many sweet rice pots kept. When you drink, with each sweet rice bottle you drink, you will get strength of 1000 elephants. So Bhima drank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 khane ke baad he passed out. Bas, Bhim ka bhi pet bhar gaya and he passed out. He couldn't digest beyond that. So thus Bhima got strength of 10,000 elephants. So that strength came from Nagalok. So Nagalok is known for the strength. And that's the comparison made for Dwarka. Just like Nagas protect Nagalok, Krishna protected Nagalok. Krishna protected Dwarka Lok. Hare Krishna, we'll pause here. Thank you all very much. So today basically we discussed two things. We discussed about the bhava of Dwarka Vasis. How they consider Krishna to be their master. See now, Krishna entering Vrindavan, nobody sees Krishna as master. They say we are, Krishna is our subordinate. On the other hand, Dwarka mood is the exact opposite. Krishna is our master. But anyway, even that the Swami Bhav, the Dasa Abhimana, that bhavana we can see very nicely in Dwarka Vasis. And the second, how Dwarka Vasis had made wonderful arrangements for the pleasure of Lord. Natural arrangements, elaborate arrangements, detailed arrangements with scented water, fruits, and all natural items. That is something through which the devotion is expressed. The bhava is expressed through action. So that much we saw today. We'll stop here. Anybody has any questions? We'll officially end the class. Right now, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samasta Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody else has any questions, they can ask me now. You can, those who have services and they want to carry on, please go ahead.
Guruji, I had asked question earlier. So, yeah, regarding this discussion between Parikshit and Kali Maharaj. So Kali asked like 4 places, and he couldn't find in the Parikshit Maharaj's land because he was a great emperor.
Yes, correct.
But then in Dwarka, we see the prostitution is there. Prostitutes are there. So how do
Let
we
them come now.
correlate this thing?
No, we'll let them come. I'll explain. Don't worry. Because that section is going to come in our discussion. That's why I'm not telling now. There I'll elaborate.
Okay. No, great.
Yeah. So the 2 questions were connected, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they're different. That's why I told second
No.
one. No. Let the prostitutes come. Then we'll discuss about that. Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Prabhuji, you told that this Karna was a very weak-hearted. That is why he could not take the institution of Krishna.
Correct.
So I just want one clarification. This Karna was having good qualities, like he was very good charioteer. He was even having good Brahmana. But
Correct.
still, he was not given the, you can say, mercy of the Krishna. Whether it was a plan of Krishna or it was his own choice to not to act as per the instruction of Krishna.
Yeah. Actually, Karna might be in all kinds of unfavorable situation. He was driven away by his mother. He was having a low upbringing. Dronacharya rejected him. He had to lie to get education. So many things. Later on, Duryodhan gave him Angadeshka Raj. No matter what the circumstances are, one cannot go against Dharma. Now, more important than that, one cannot go against Krishna. So Karna was weak-hearted. Why? Because he could not obey the instruction of Krishna, knowing very well that Krishna's instructions will bring good fortune for everybody. Not just me, not just Yudhishthir, not just Duryodhan, but it will do good to the entire world. He knew this, and still he couldn't act on it. That was the problem with Karna. Okay. Yashika Mataji and then Harvesh Shobha Lakshmi Mataji. Yes.
Prabhuji, my question is that a liberated soul can see Krishna in everything, in a non-living being or a living being. Then why they feel separation?
That's what is the curtain of Yogamaya, right? Krishna puts the curtain of Yogamaya to disappear there so that they feel separation. I clarified that. For us, it's Mahamaya. That's why we're not able to see Krishna. The Dwarkavasis couldn't see Krishna because of the influence of Yogamaya. So he put a curtain on of the Yogamaya so that they can feel that separation. Okay. And liberated person cannot see Krishna, not like that. Liberated person will see everything as Krishna's energy. Sarvam khalau idam brahma. Only those having the pure devotees. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochana santasadeva sadeveshu. So we need the Premanjana, pure devotees vision. They can only see Krishna. Not liberated souls. Liberation is not sufficient. Liberation is the beginning, qualification to start bhakti. Yes. Harvesh Shobha Lakshmi Mataji.
Prabhuji, you mentioned some shloka where Uddhav says why he chose Krishna as the mother.
11.7.18. 11th canto, 7th chapter, 18th verse.
One more question. This is out of Bhagavatam.
No problem. Out of syllabus.
Prabhuji, when Krishna says that you surrender unto me and I will relieve you from all the sins. So, like if someone has murdered someone and come to Krishna, then the person who was murdered means towards whom the sin was committed. So, you compensate for that.
Okay. So once what had happened was there was a drug lord. He was trying to find a space and he entered into Hare Krishna temple just to escape from police. And he started imitating activities of devotees, but by regular darshan of deities, by taking prasadam and some good words of Bhagavatam falling, knowledge arose in his heart. So he went to temple president and told, I want to surrender. He says, why? Because I'm very fallen. I said, very good, you're thinking nicely. He said, no, I'm really fallen. I'm a murderer. I'm a drug lord. And that. He said, really? You're telling this? Then don't surrender here. First go surrender to police. He told him, first you go and surrender to police. Then surrender to Krishna. So now first, this person's duty was murdered. A murderer and then say, well, Krishna, I'll come and surrender. You know, he's first he should surrender to government. Yes. And there he can, in jail, he can read the Bhagavad Gita and surrender to Krishna. So he has to be punished also.
No, but like whatever sins we have committed, like towards someone, so those persons will be compensated for them. I mean,
that Krishna will take care. We don't have to worry. What is Krishna telling? Ma Sucha, you don't worry. That is my worry. That is the meaning of Mahasucha. इतना सब कुछ complicated, फिर उसका क्या होगा? Will that person try to get back? That is not your worry. We will surrender and beat it as. I will take care. So to think of what will happen to the other end, that is not our worry. That's not our concern. It's Krishna's concern.
Will you get relieved of the bija and all the
Everything. Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam aviklavam kramaineva praliyeta Krishna Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam. You perform bhakti, your prarabdha, aprarabdha, kuta, bija, everything is destroyed. That is the power of Krishna consciousness. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
लेकिन उसके लिए इतना भक्ति भी स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए ना प्रभु जी.
हाँ. Sorry.
For that we have to do devotional service very sincerely, na Prabhuji, for
Sincere,
that.
serious, without ulterior motives. That is for pure.
Correct.
See,
but we are not that
Shastras,
much
whenever
purified.
they talk about bhakti, they talk about pure devotee. Just like, for example, Shastras, whenever they talk about ghee, they are not talking about Amul ghee, local brand ghee. They talk about Desi Gai ka Shuddh ghee, Mina Milavat ke. That's standard.
Yes, but
similarly, whenever Shastras
we
refer
are,
to bhakti, Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam, they refer to only pure devotional service, not mixed devotional service.
Yes.
That's very clear.
Yes,
Okay.
but we are sadhakan. So,
so we don't have to remain sadhakas. We have to become sadhana bhaktas. We have to become bhava bhaktas. We have to proceed ahead. Don't remain. We should not remain sadhakas. We should proceed ahead. And that proceeding ahead will happen with laulyam, with that greed. Transcendental greed to associate and grow. That should be there. Okay.
Actually, even at our stage, many tendencies are gone. Which were there previously.
Anartha nivritti, the gross bad habits are all gone. Not find devotees eating outside, drinking chai, and all that. Gross bad habits are gone, but the subtle tendencies remain. So those subtle tendencies they take some time to get purified. And they will also get purified if we attentively have a prolonged exposure of Krishna conscious program. Prolonged. So now Ekadashi is coming. Next Saturday is Ekadashi. Let's try to chant 64 rounds. Prolonged exposure, 8 hours continuously. So such prolonged exposures only will actually wipe out their tendencies and anarthas in the heart. Okay, we'll pause here and we'll meet tomorrow.
Prabhuji, I have one more question.
One more question. Okay, yes. Last question.
It's out of question, Prabhuji.
No problem.
प्रभुजी जैसे वैष्णवों के मतलब पैर छूने से मना करते हैं, मतलब वो कहते हैं कि मतलब हमारे जो कर्म है वो ट्रांसफर हो रहे हैं, I mean, तो प्रभुजी ऐसा मतलब पॉसिबल है, मतलब ये
ना होता है ना, बिल्कुल होता है.
मतलब किसी के
कर्म ट्रांसफर होता है, कपड़े पहनने से कर्म ट्रांसफर होता है, पैर छूने से होता है, उच्छिष्ट खाने से होता है. बट वैष्णव के पैर इसलिए नहीं छूते. वैष्णव आर वेरी हम्बल, एंड इफ वी टच देयर फीट दे विल बिकम अनकंफर्टेबल. दैट इज व्हाई वी डोंट टच. ओके, वैष्णव का पैर छूना चाहिए, ये महाबल है. भक्त पद जल धूली यार, भक्त पद जल, भक्त मुक्त अवशेष, 3 महाबल. बट हियर अगेन शिरोमणि राधिका माता से बात कर रहे थे, भक्त मीन्स प्योर डिवोटी. उनका ले सकते हैं, we can take. वही यसाम पाद रजोभिषेकम निष्किंचनानाम न वृणीते यावत. Prahlad Maharaj tells Hiranyakashipu, till the time you bathe yourself with the dust from lotus feet, you will not become devotee. You will not understand what is bhakti. We need, but the dust उनके चरणों में नहीं, उनकी वाणी में. वो वाणी स्वीकार करके उसको एक्ट करना, that is more important. ठीक है, thank you. श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. I have to leave now. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.